This Lagos way we day, he no be for the faint of heart. This city, she breathe fire and she breathe life in equal measure. Every morning, 10 million people wake up and choose to try again. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise, all that beautiful madness, one woman decided she was going to tell the truth. Her name was Aminat. Aminat started small. A young journalist in a cramped newsroom on the island, the kind of place where the ceiling fan no day work and the printer jam every other day. But the girl had fire. The kind of fire way you no fit quench with water or money or threats. She was hungry. Not the kind of hungry way Suya go solve. No, she was hungry for justice. Her first real assignment took her to Oshodi market. If you know Oshodi, you know say that place in a world of its own. The noise, the chaos, the smell of roasted plantain mixing with diesel fumes. But underneath all that bustle, something rotten was festering. Market women paying double levies to men who answered to nobody. Traders losing their stalls overnight because somebody somewhere signed a paper. Aminat started asking questions. And in Lagos, asking questions can be a very dangerous thing. Now for one press conference, she first see Tunde. He be like say the whole room was full of the usual Lagos big men, puffing out their chests and talking plenty English that no mean anything. But Tunde was different. He was quiet. He was watching. When their eyes met across the room, something passed between them. Not love, not yet, but recognition. The recognition of two people where see the same rot and refuse to look away. Aminat walked up to him after and said, "You noticed it too, Abi?" Tunde looked at her and smiled. "I've been noticing for years. I was just waiting for someone brave enough to do something about it." Late one night, Aminat was going through leaked documents a contact had slipped under her door. At first, it looked like regular government wahala, inflated contracts, ghost workers, the usual Nigerian special. But as she dug deeper, her hands started shaking. This was not small corruption. This was a network, a web. Billions of naira flowing from government coffers into private accounts through shell companies with addresses in Dubai and London. And at the center of it all, one name kept appearing. A name everybody in Lagos knew, a name everybody trusted. Before she could chase that name, Aminat went to Makoko, the floating slum on the lagoon. She needed to see with her own eyes what this corruption was doing to real people. That was where she met Ifeanyi, a boy of maybe 8 or 9, with eyes too old for his face, but a smile that could light up the whole Third Mainland Bridge. The boy was sitting on a wooden plank, reading a torn schoolbook. Aminat knelt beside him and asked, "Wetin you wan become when you grow up?" Ifeanyi looked up at her with those ancient eyes and said, "I wan become somebody way people go listen to." That answer broke something inside Aminat and rebuilt it stronger. The next morning, her editor called her into his office. The man no even look her in the eye. He just said, "Drop the story, Aminat. E no concern you. The people behind this thing, dem no dey play." Aminat sat there for a long time. Then she stood up, gathered her notes, and walked out. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Her silence was louder than any argument. Aminat and Tunde began meeting at the Lagos waterfront. Always at night, always in different spots. The lagoon breeze carrying their whispered plans across the dark water. They would sit on the concrete barriers, watching the lights of Victoria Island dance on the surface, and they would plan. "If we do this," Aminat told him one evening, "there's no going back. You understand that, Abi?" Tunde nodded slowly. "I understood that the moment I met you." Then Maran appeared. Nobody knew where she came from or who sent her. She showed up one night at a bar in Ikeja, the kind of place where the music too loud and nobody dare ask questions. She sat across from Aminat, slid a brown envelope across the table and said, Everything you need is inside. Bank statements, recorded calls, photographs. But once you open this envelope, your life changes forever. Aminat looked at the envelope. She looked at Maran. Then she picked it up. My life changed the day I chose this work. Later they found out that somebody is investigating. That night, as Aminat and Tunde drove across 3rd Mainland Bridge, headlights appeared behind them. 1 car, then 2, then 3. The chase was something from a Nollywood film, except this one was real. Tunde was driving, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. Aminat was in the passenger seat, clutching the evidence to her chest like a mother holding her child. "Don't stop," she whispered. "Whatever happens, don't stop." By the grace of God, they made it across, but both of them knew. The hunters were closing in. That same night, Aminat found herself in a small church in Surulere. The kind of church where no get air conditioning, where the wooden pews creak and the paint they peel from the walls. She knelt on the cold floor, and for the first time in a long time, she cried. "God," she whispered, "if this thing is for me, if this story is mine to tell, then give me strength, because right now, I no get any left." The thing way happened next, no easy to talk about. Ifani disappeared. The boy just vanished from Makoko like smoke. One day he was there, reading his torn book, smiling that smile. The next day, nothing. Aminat searched everywhere. She went to every corner of that slum, asking, begging, shouting his name until her voice broke. Nobody saw anything. Nobody knew anything. Or maybe they knew and were too afraid to speak. In Lagos, silence can be a survival strategy. Then they came for Tunde. Draven's boys caught him leaving his office on Broad Street. 4 men. They beat him until his own mother would not have recognized his face. When Aminat got to the hospital and saw him lying there, tubes everywhere, one eye swollen shut, she held his hand and said nothing. What words day way fit cover that kind of pain? Tunde managed to open his good eye. He looked at her and whispered, "Don't stop. You hear me? Don't you dare stop." They destroyed her apartment next. Everything. Her laptop, her notes, her clothes, her grandmother's photograph, the only one she had. They wrote on the wall in red paint, "Next time, nah, you." Aminat stood in the middle of the wreckage, glass crunching under her feet, and she felt something she had never felt before. Not fear. Something worse. Doubt. She went to the roof of her building that night. Lagos stretched out below her, a carpet of lights and shadows. The rain was falling, that heavy Lagos rain where beat you like punishment from above. She stood at the edge, not because she wanted to jump, but because she wanted to feel something other than the emptiness. Maybe dem right, she thought. Maybe this fight no be for one person. Maybe I done try enough. But see, this Lagos way we day, she get a way of surprising you. The next morning, Aminat came downstairs to find people waiting. Market women from Oshodi, students from Unilag, motorcycle riders, bus conductors, teachers, nurses, people she had never met, people who had read her stories, people who knew what she was fighting for. One old mama, wrapper tied tight around her waist, walked up to Aminat and said, "My daughter, we no go let you carry this load alone. This fight na our fight too." And just like that, everything changed. Aminat recorded the exposé that night. She sat in front of a camera in a borrowed room, evidence spread around her like a battlefield map. Her eyes were red, her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady like the foundation of a house where no man fit shake. She looked into that camera, tears running down her face, and she said, "My name is Aminat, and this is the truth about the man you call a hero." Na so the matter be. The video dropped at midnight. By morning, the whole of Lagos had seen it. He spread like Harmattan fire. WhatsApp, Twitter, Instagram, even the mama way seller Kara for the corner was playing it on her phone. The evidence was undeniable. Bank statements, recorded conversations, photographs of secret meetings. Everything Draven had built his empire on, exposed for the whole world to see. Lagos stood still that day. For the first time, the city way never sleep held its breath. They arrested Draven that afternoon. EFCC officers walked into his penthouse on Banana Island. That same penthouse way overlooked the lagoon, the one built with stolen money from stolen dreams. He was sitting in his living room when they came, still wearing that expensive suit. But the smile was gone. The charm was gone. Now just one old man, Weidon, run out of places to hide. As they led him out in handcuffs, the cameras captured something beautiful. The look on his face when he realized that the people he had stolen from were the same people who had brought him down. 3 days later, Aminat got the call. Ifeanyi had been found, alive. They had kept him in a house in Ikorodu, trying to use him as leverage. But it was too late. The story was already out. When Aminat walked into that hospital room and saw the boy lying there, thin but breathing, awake but confused, she couldn't hold it. She just broke down. Ifeanyi looked up at her, and with a voice small like a whisper, he said, "Aunt Aminat, you came." She held his hand, the same way she had held Tunde's, and she whispered back, "I will always come." In the months that followed, something remarkable happened. The money they recovered, and they recovered plenty, went back to the communities Draven had robbed. A new center opened in Makoko. Children we never see inside of classroom before were sitting at desks, holding pencils, learning to write their own names. Ifeanyi was one of them. First row, front and center, that same smile lighting up the room like he had swallowed the sun. Aminat stood at a podium some months later, at a conference way big people from all over Africa attend. She was wearing white, simple, clean, powerful. Tunde was in the audience, his face healed but carrying the scars like badges of honor. Ifeanyi was there too, sitting between two of the market women Wei had stood with Aminat that morning outside her building. Aminat gripped the podium, looked out at the crowd, and spoke the words that would define everything. "We didn't just survive, we became the reason others can." The applause shook the room. But for Aminat, the sound she heard was different. She heard the rain on that rooftop. She heard Ifeanyi's voice saying, "I want to become somebody way people go listen to." She heard Tunde whispering, "Don't stop." She heard Lagos, all of Lagos, breathing, pulsing, alive. Because that is the thing about this city. Lagos go break you, Lagos go bend you, but if you stand when everything tell you to fall, Lagos go carry you. Na so the pulse of Lagos day beat, and he no day ever stop.
Did this story move you? Drop a comment and tell us your favorite line. Subscribe for more powerful African stories told like never before. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.